A very good morning, team. You might have wondered where have the daily market outlooks been. Now, we have moved all the daily market outlooks onto a new channel called the Trading Academy Market Updates. A link to this channel can be found in the description down below or in the comment section. So make sure to subscribe to that channel because that is every single day where future market updates are going to be posted. So I hope to have informed you enough with that. We're going to dive into EURUSD, the major dollar pairs, and of course gold, and see where these pairs are potentially heading next. Now, EURUSD has been heading down lower all week in towards the lows. It has currently shifted here on the daily fractal structure, and therefore I see potential for EURUSD to continue its overall drive further in towards the downside. Now, here on the daily time frame, there are not really any clear areas of demand that have the potential, in my opinion, to cause a full-blown reversal on EURUSD, and therefore I'll be looking for an overall deeper correction. At the moment, this is my main area of daily demand, the overall buy before the sell, and at this point in time, I'm looking for somewhat of a reversal back in towards the highs after this massive, what is it? I think around a 300, 400 pip move in towards the downside without any retracements on the lower time frame. Going into the weekly as well here on EURUSD, we can clearly see that after tapping into this weekly area of supply, and in addition to that, taking out this overall daily / weekly swing high, which is this little bump in the road over here, the overall market has shifted its overall momentum and has provided us with a bearish fractal structure shift here on the weekly time frame as well. Now, at the moment, this here is my weekly area of supply, and I'll be looking for somewhat of a bounce back before overall deeper and further continuation here for EURUSD. So that's what I have at the moment. Daily fractal is bearish, weekly fractal is bearish, so I'm looking for an overall retracement to then see if we can get some more shorts in towards the downside. And now to the 4-hour time frame, we can see that the overall momentum here for EURUSD is extremely high. Now, what happened here on euro dollar is that we retraced here in towards an area of 4-hour demand. Now, the overall 4-hour swing structure was from this overall swing low over here in towards this swing high over here. So we were bullish, let's say at the beginning of the week on the 4-hour swing structure, because this here is the break of structure. So this is the overall impulse up, right? So you see the overall correction, then you see the upside continuation, but then boom, we crash in towards the downside, breaking the overall 4-hour market structure, and therefore the overall 4-hour swing structure is now bearish as well. You can clearly see that even after tapping into this demand zone over here, the only thing that we get is like this little small reaction, really indicating how bearish we actually are. So I'll be looking for further downside continuation on EURUSD once we get some more bearish confirmation, but I would like to see somewhat of a sizable retracement in towards the upside. And what I'm also analyzing at the same time, and therefore, by the way, guys, I'm looking for a pullback trade on EURUSD further in towards the highs, though we must keep in mind that we cannot be too aggressive because the overall bearish momentum is obviously very high. Now, here for the dollar index, again, over the week, I have been discussing this monthly chart here on the dollar index. First of all, on the monthly time frame, we're bullish. We've had a 1, 2, and then a third tap of the overall trend line. Here, from a swing perspective, we can see clearly that the market has retraced into discount pricing, and therefore I'm looking for potential bounce up higher after retracing into monthly demand, which is also known as these two monthly imbalance candles. Now, going to the daily time frame, we can then see that the daily time frame provided us with an overall change of character in towards the upside. It becomes very clear here that this here is now the overall sell for the big buy up. So I'll be looking for a retest of that demand zone to then look for further longs here on the dollar, meaning that once the dollar index retraces in towards that area of demand, I'll start looking for those EURUSD shorts, okay? So moving on into AUDUSD, we can clearly see that AU has also continued its overall drive down lower after grabbing that bump in the road, and it becomes again a lot more clear on the 4-hour time frame here. So after grabbing the last little bump in the road, and it's similar to EURUSD, which is this high over here, which is kind of like the first high of all of these descending highs, you can clearly see that on the 4-hour time frame, the overall momentum shifted pretty rapidly. So what I mean with that momentum shifting pretty rapidly is that we get a 4-hour change of character. So obviously at this point in time, everybody's bullish, right? Even myself, I was looking for some continuations, with this being the swing low, this being the swing high. But here you get the change of character in towards the downside, retest of support, supply, boom, sell off. Then here we have supply, then here we have supply, and now again, obviously here we have supply. So we can see that supply the entirety of the time has been in control. Now for AUDUSD, I'll be looking for further downside continuation once the dollar index retraces into that area of demand that I just highlighted on the daily time frame, and preferably for AU, you would be wanting to take out these descending highs here, and then, for example, look for the overall sell-off in towards the downside. Now, that doesn't need to happen. It doesn't need to retrace that deep. You could also just tap, for example, this area of supply over here. That would also be fine, but then we need to see a little bit more kind of like manipulation before getting into any potential shorts. Going into GBPUSD, which has been my top pick for quite a long time, we can again very clearly see that the bearish momentum is so strong that all we needed was a tap, and then we just sold off further. For GU itself, I'm looking still for further downside continuation, at least into the beginning of this overall 1, 2, 3 channel. So 1, 2, 3. Then here you got the daily change of character, and ever since daily fractal has been bearish, right? So supply in control, supply in control, supply in control, and now again supply here in control. So I'm looking for the overall downside continuation in towards this overall swing low, and then from there I might start looking for a pullback from these levels, not really looking for a significant pullback. So that's what I have for GU. GU does have a strong area of 4-hour supply right over here. However, we can very clearly see that we were actually already tapped into that 4-hour supply zone with this wick over here. So it's not the strongest, but it could retrace that high. For now, 1-hour supply here is in control. So let's keep an eye on what happens within this area of 1-hour supply. It's not the cleanest move in towards the downside regarding liquidity. So we could also move up higher. For example, here we also have a 1-hour supply zone still fresh. So there are a lot more potentials or a lot more opportunities to potentially go short. However, I would really want to wait for a little bit more confirmation as we're already so deep in the overall leg. So that's what I have for GU. Still see some downside potential in towards this overall swing low here. Then going into NZDUSD, we can see that NU retraced further in towards the downside. Now, this is also a pair where the daily fractal is currently bullish in between the fractal low, in between the fractal high. So it has potential to continue up higher. I was keeping an eye on this imbalance over here. So these two imbalance candles, these two bullish imbalance candles, to look for further longs. Now you can see the market retraced, gave us kind of some slowdown here on Tuesday. Going into the 4-hour time frame, however, you can then very clearly see once again that the overall supply flow remains in control in towards the downside. Now, for now, this here is now your 4-hour supply zone. So I'll be looking for further downside moves once we retrace in towards there, despite the overall 1 hour being bullish. Now this is kind of what I was talking about on GU. Here you have like this supply zone, but you see there's no liquidity in the push down. So then more often than not, the high itself will be grabbed and you'll push towards the next area of supply. And then from there, you might sell off. So looking at those further shorts, despite the overall, let's say, daily fractal being bullish, I am kind of looking for a deeper sell-off on NU back down to around 0.58472. Going into dollar Swiss, dollar yen, and gold. Dollar Swiss broke out here on the daily fractal for the first time since May, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So what I'm now looking at here on dollar Swiss is that further upside continuation overall here on the daily order flow. So once we see that retracement, I'll be looking for a further long opportunity similar to the dollar index. Going into dollar yen, we can see that dollar yen continued its overall leg up once again. Dollar yen is trading at a premium. Do keep that in mind. However, the daily fractal remains bullish. So for now, this is the overall order flow / demand that is in control. And on the 4-hour time frame, we can also see that demand here at the moment is still in control. And what I mean with demand being in control is that the overall sell for the buy here is in control. And this sell for the buy took out some lows here. Therefore, this is a pretty strong area of demand, and you could look still for that further upside continuation. So keep an eye on the dollar index. But yeah, for now, dollar yen is still bullish, both daily fractal wise, 4-hour fractal wise. So yeah, those short-term longs still look good. And then, of course, we have gold. Gold at the beginning of the week, I highlighted the potential shorting opportunities. Once the market retraced into the overall buy before the sell, so buy up before the strong sell down. Here you can see that we tap exactly in towards that zone. On the lower time frame, we can see that 4-hour supply remained in control, which is the 4-hour supply zone over here. Yesterday, gold sold off after some remarks from Powell about that they are looking through inflation when it comes to interest rates. This was bearish for gold overall, and yeah, gold made a further sell-off. Now, all you actually really need to know here on gold at the moment is that the daily fractal is bearish, right? So first, for the first time, we obviously react to the overall buy before the sell here. And now looking at this chart here, I am now focusing on this area of daily supply, with the daily fractal at the moment being bearish and me still looking for potentially another drive down lower to take out some lows. Here we have equal lows, so I'm kind of targeting that 32.45 level. And I still would like to see some further shorts on gold play out. So the daily fractal is bearish. Now the 4-hour time frame, I'm just looking, simply said, for another shorting opportunity. I'm going to use this high here as my liquidity high. I would preferably see that get taken out. That, as you can see here on the 1-hour time frame, are descending highs. So let's see if we can get those taken out and then look for potential shorts down lower here for gold this week, following the overall bearish 4-hour fractal and swing, and also the daily fractal. Back down in towards the 25% level here of the overall range that we have on gold. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Later today at 2:30 Central Eastern Time, so New York Open, we're going to go live here on the channel. Make sure to be there. I'll try and drop a link here in the description of the video or in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to our new market updates channel, because that is from tomorrow onwards where we are going to be posting all market updates. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.